What does healing mean? What does that mean for you? Some time ago, I heard this quote from a friend of mine that I really love. She said, I'm gonna read it for you, just don't forget. I allow my triggers to guide me to places where I'm not yet free. In other words, I allow my triggers to guide me into spaces that I am aware now that I need healing. The triggers are showing up to say, hey, you need healing in this area. That's the reason why the triggers show up. And the thing is that a lot of times for us, I know for me, I feel triggered, I just fly off the bat. I feel triggered, I avoid. I feel triggered, I start making a bunch of excuses, and I start to just do this thing where I just don't deal with it. I don't want to deal with the triggers, but I don't see the gift that the triggers are. They're showing up to tell me, hey, you need to work on this situation. You need to deal with this thing. You need to talk to that person. You need to stop avoiding. You need to face it. That's why the triggers are here. That's why you're feeling the way you're feeling. That's why that funny anxiety feeling in your gut is just nagging at you because it needs your attention. That's why it's showing up. I always say draining emotions, negative emotions, whatever it is you're feeling, this feels uncomfortable. These things show up to teach you something. But back to the healing. I believe that a lot of us are in a place of we know that we need healing. We know that it is something that should take place, but it's like we don't even know how to create it. We don't even know how to allow ourselves to heal fully. And a lot of times that's because of us having a very dysfunctional relationship with our wound. Whatever it is that has hurt us, whatever trauma that has taken place, which people love to use the word trauma, I like to say it's emotional pain, and you have an emotional wound. It's like we have these things that take place, but we don't know how to deal with it and allow it to fully heal. How do I let it fully heal? How do I allow myself to get to that point where this thing that used to bother me doesn't bother me anymore? And the problem is so many of us allow that emotional wound, that emotional pain to become our identity. And we're showing everybody, like in every conversation comes up, that emotional pain. It's like we rehearse it, we obsess about it, we dwell on it, we wallow in it, and it's like it becomes a trophy. It's like how much pain you've been through, how much experience you've had, how much this and that person, what they did and what not. But what about the healing though? If healing took place, would you still be talking about it? Would you still be obsessing about it? And do you even want to heal? Are you stuck in the avoidant behavior? Or better yet, are you stuck in the obsessive behavior? Obsessing about this wound and this pain, making it hard for you to even visit the place where you're not yet free. It's like it seems as if you're dealing with it because you talk about it all the time and you obsess about it, but you're not letting yourself even heal and fully feel and fully deal with it. It's just something that you just associate with and it's part of your identity now, but you're not truly dealing with it in a way that allows you to promote the healing that needs to take place. What does healing look like for you? The healed version of you, what does she look like? Who is she? Are you ready to meet her? Something that I believe about healing is it's that it is something that is an ongoing process and it's going to be a part of your journey. I believe that healing is going to be something that we deal with because we live in a sinful world and we deal with flawed human beings. And because that's our reality, I believe that healing is something that will be continual throughout our lives. The objective goal is, though, to be closer to God, to be in alignment with Him so our hearts can be softened, so that He can allow the healing to take place in our hearts and our soul, so that He can bind up the brokenness and decrease the pain that has shifted us emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. That's the role of God in our lives, to help us to have that, to achieve that. And so as we mature in Christ, in God, I believe that as individuals, as women, we become more self-aware and we start to elevate our thinking. So that way we're not all petty and so easily offended and taking things personal and judging and all of these things. It's like as we elevate our thinking, the chances of us getting wounded is less. When spiritual maturity is part of our lives, there is less chances of us wounding each other. There's less chances of us being hurtful in the way we conduct ourselves. We're more thoughtful of the other person and we consider before we act. And we are better able to navigate our own healing process. I believe that one great indicator as to whether or not you've healed from a situation or not is the way that you respond. When you're faced with that same situation again, do you respond like you always have? Or do you respond in a new way to an old situation? I believe that it is time that we change the narrative. Instead of reveling in our pain and instead of picking at the scab and just showing off our scars and how hurt and wounded we are, what if we change the narrative? What if we said, okay, I'm going to face my situation. I'm going to face those triggers. I'm going to deal with the things that bother me, the things that I've been avoiding. I'm going to face them. I'm going to deal with them. And I'm going to better navigate this healing process instead of dragging it out. I'm speeding it up because I'm dwelling in the land of truth and I'm dealing with things as they come. Even if it's painful, even if it hurts, I know it's temporary. It's for my greater good. And moving forward, I am choosing to demonstrate habits that promote healing in myself and others. Looking at it from that perspective, like how would it impact your life? How would it impact the lives around you? And as women, us being very emotional beings, if we spent less time dwelling in the pain, wallowing in that misery, how much more profitable would our time be and our impact on the world be if we could operate from a more healed place? What would that be like? That's what I'm here to help you find out.